VMware vDefend security for VCF5X. Security Services Platform. You'll hear me talk about it many times as being SSP, as the short acronym. Let's start with an overview. So SSP is our new security services platform. Here's a high-level architecture. So what are we doing with SSP? And we are collecting data from NSX nodes, transport nodes, which are also your ESXi hosts, also the edges. Will go into a common storage database. And here we are gather data for security intelligence, NTA, malware prevention systems, NDR, and ATP. So, and how do we install this? So pretty straightforward. We have an SSP installer, and we'll call it the SSPI in a lot of cases and a lot of documentation. And the key things it does there is it's the lifecycle manager for deployment, scale out, backups, and it also has registry for components within SSP. And the installer will actually go out and do the install of multiple VMs. So here in this case, we're actually showing 3 control VMs and 7 or so worker VMs. So another view kind of looking like this, we have a UI and the API can go into security services platform, and then it does the lifecycle management of the entire platform. So again, we basically have different services in TA, NDR, say security intelligence, different metrics. They all sit on top of, security services platform, which is that managed VM cluster that we saw earlier. So let's talk about the high-level deployment steps. First step is we're going to deploy the SPI, the installer OVA. And then we'll move on and we will connect to SSPI through the UI and upload the SSP bundle, which is an ATAR file. Then we'll configure SSP directly from the instance. We'll connect to the SSP UI and onboard NSX. And then we'll activate the security features that we were showing earlier, including NTA, NSX intelligence, and NDR. So, SSP instance lifecycle configuration, and then scale out here. We have SSPI management of the packages, so different tar files. So as we go through upgrades, we'll release a new tar. You'll be able to ingest that into SSPI, and you'll be able to do upgrades. And it's also there for troubleshooting, and we'll go through some troubleshooting steps here today. So again, we can scale out, get another kind of view of the UI here, kind of giving multiple views here of what's going on within SSPI and SSP itself. So package management is here. For troubleshooting, we can come in here and look at the troubleshooting dashboard here. So basically each part of the product is sitting here in different circles. You have your overall health, you have SSPI health, you have SSP health, and then you go down and you see that, different components that are in there and what's going on, all the way down to the pod level that's running within the instance and seeing if it's healthy and green and up and running. We have security features that we come in and we want to do different scores from intelligent management, SSP upgrade and backup, and NSX onboarding has all come from SSP itself. And here's kind of the loading page, when you first come in, and you'll see, you'll have a segmentation score once you run it, and you'll see, other alarms and event monitoring at a high level. So very, straight out dashboard, a very high level, kind of an executive view. Then we'll move on and, here's more of a summary of once we've done that calculation or recalculation of a score, they will give you an actual summary of, high level executive view of, okay, what is the scoring for what's going on here in our segmentation report. So security score, environment, protector scores, are all in here, and there's different scoring levels through it. I'd reach out to VMware if you have, some detailed questions about, the scoring and how we do segmentation scoring. System overview, basically coming back and saying, hey, what version are we running? This is where we can check version, the name of the instance, the certificates that it belong to the instance. And so about the security services platform, security intelligence, threat detection and response, malware prevention. So you can do network, rule configurations from here. You can do UI rejections to SSPI, all from the NSX UI. All right, so here we go. Understanding the UIs. So, we want to make sure that we understand the change in UIs and where they're all located. So SSPI UI, you have the instance deployment, you have node scale out, upgrades, backups and restore, troubleshooting, SSPs where you can onboard NSX Manager, security feature activation, monitor and plan security features, intelligence, NTA, NDR, NPS, event monitoring, SSP, service scale out, backup and restore. Then still back in the NSX UI, we have, distributed firewall, gateway firewall, IDS, IPS, malware prevention rules are all configured there. IDS, IPS, NPS settings are there. Groups, tags, and services are still in the NSX UI. So what are the requirements? So evaluation form factor. Only time we are going to use evaluation form factors for a lab. It's meant for a lab. It's built for a lab. Up to about 500 flows per 5 minutes. So this is what we're looking for lab use. Maybe small POCs, but it is a evaluation lab only. No support for the segmentation security score report. No ability to upgrade to advanced form factor, and no scale up and no backups. Again, it is meant to be tore down as a lab module. Advanced form factor, you have your 3 nodes for control planes and anywhere from 4 to 10 workers, up to 1 million flows, 288 million flows per 24 hours, and your retention set for 30 days. This is required for production. It's required for the segmentation report. 5 worker nodes minimum if you have ATP. That's a key distinction there. If you're using just NSX Intelligence for rule recommendation, you can start with 4 nodes. If you are going to run full ATP with NDR, NTA, and malware prevention, then yes, you will need to start out with 5 nodes. Currently today, 10 worker nodes is the max, and we do scale out, and we also have backup and restore. So what does this look like from a resource perspective? Pretty straightforward. Your SSPI is 4 and 6. Your control planes are 4 and 8, and your worker nodes are 16 and 68 when it comes to your vCPU and RAM count. And you can read right here, what the storage requirements are. You will need to make sure you have a license. We do like having resource reservations, strongly recommended to have. You can go to configmax.broadcom.com to get kind of the config max, and here you have your firewall license. You're gonna need an ATP license. You can kind of see where we're pointing out, hey, this is your advanced 4 worker nodes, and this is what you need for ATP. And this is kind of that base stand up, 57 flows per day. And to get maxed out to 288 million flows per day, full scale. And what the total CPU and RAM is for this to go out for the sizing. And we have a sizing tool. So this is a little script that you can run to help you understand the sizing of the environment. So first thing you need to do is have SSP deployed. You need to have NSX 4.2, and you need 7 days of traffic. So you can run this script before you ever turn on intelligence, before you start actually doing anything with the flows. Basically we're looking to gather 7 days of flows and then running the script to get an idea of against those 7 days, how big of an environment do we need to build. So the inputs that we do need for this script do include NSX IP credentials, internal external flow ratio, unique repeatable flow ratio, and the output will be the number of worker nodes you need, and then we can scale out the platform and then turn on the services from the get-go. All right, let's talk about some technology. Sorry, of the topology of the network. All right, this is the routed option. So one of the things that we tried to do here with SSP is give you multiple options of how to set up the network. And here's the requirements for that. This is first the routed option. So one, SSP still needs to be on a single subnet. Supports vSphere, DVGs, VLAN backed and overlay NSX segments. We only require three fully qualified domain names, two IP pools, um, and both must be part of the same SSP subnet. So that's key, is we still want one subnet for SSP in whole. But we can do routing between both SSPI and out to NSX and out to, vCenter. All that can be routed, but SSP still needs to be on a single subnet. And then, of course, we still support the flat network option, which is, hey, if you have room, and this is preferred, install SSP all on the same network as your vCenter, as NSX, and everything else that you have in your management domain that's running, infrastructure services. So here's understanding the node IP pool requirements. Strongly recommended, to use the, full advanced size pool. So for SSP instance, 16 IPs. This way, no matter what, when you want to, go to max config, or if you ever get to the point where you get to max config, you have the room to do that. And the same goes for the SSP platform services. We want to make sure that we have, max 12. Again, in the yellow there was the minimum. I would, focus on just always doing the max. So the FTQNs are used to access the UI and the CLIs, SSPI registries, and address to be able to get into the actual UI is there, and it's mapped to the IP address. Same with the SSP instance fact. We want that IP address to be able to get to the UI. It's used by NSX and NSX transport nodes to send metrics to SSP. And then the messaging FTQ and is used by the transport nodes. Your SXI hosts have been prepped for NSX to send flows to SSP. SSP can support a fully air-gapped and doesn't require doesn't require internet access. Metrics Intelligence and NDR are fully air-gapped. NDR supports air-gap mode. So NDR is not air-gapped by default. There's some prep steps that we need to do before we do the activation. So pre-activation of NDR, we need to make sure that we run on a script to go through and set it up so that we can support NDR in a air-gap environment. The requirements for vCenter 7U3, a DVS, DRS, any mode, and resource pools are recommended. And they are, when the installer does the installation, it will actually push out a resource pool for you and ask if you want to use the reservation. One VM storage policy with one or more compatible data stores. Supported shared storage is vSAN, NFS, version 3, version 4, VMFS, vVols. Not supported storage vMotions right now, storage DRS, or VM encryption today. For security purposes, SSPI is especially trusts the vCenter certificate. So when we get our certificates, we want to go out to vCenter, download the trusted routes, extract archive, and then save the content of any .0 file. And right here is where you can go download that certificate. And what that tar file looks like, or what that zip file looks like when you open it, you're gonna have a Linux Max in Win for Windows. Grab that certificate and pull it in. You'll be able to, we're showing you what a certificate looks like, but you are able to go in and grab that certificate and pull it in. All right. So now for onboarding, you have NSX 4.2 or later. You're going to firewall. So DFW, vDefend, VFW. You have an ATP license to be able to use this feature. Federation onboarding the LMs is supported. Onboarding GMs is not supported in 5.0. And if you are a customer of, using the old NAP platform, that must be offboarded before we onboard SSP. To note, there is no going backwards at this point. NSX can't be onboard to NAP once we've onboarded to SSP because of some of the changes that are made in functionality of the UI. Certificate, again, just like for vCenter, we do need the NSX certificate. We're going to export that certificate from NSX. Make sure it is the one that has the APIs in it. So it's going to say REST APIs for the management cluster here. But we want to make sure we have the ones for the API driven. Again, we'll export it. You'll get your certificate, and you can import that directly into SSP from the file. Security services, again, we talked about scale out using the advanced form factor can be up to 10 worker nodes. Wait for SS to fully be stable first and scale out services from the SSP UI. Scale out can't be reversed, so we only scale out. There is no scale in. Activate features security intelligence before scaling out. Scale out might be limited because of node IP and service IP pool sizes. So again, don't use the minimums. Try to use the maximums. Those pool sizes aren't that big. Storage capacity is not checked at scale out, so that is planned for some later releases. So validate that you have enough storage for a scale out. So some basic services, we can do backup and restores. So we're going to be able to back up the SSPI, back up the configuration. Steps for restores. You restore, SSPI from scratch. It's an OVA. It's, pretty quick install, and then you'll re-import the SSP bundle. Then you restore the SSP backup. Backup and restore of SSP, SSP instance, configuration, security, service configuration certificates, servers, data collection, private IP ranges, and all settings are backed up. We do not back up the flows themselves or NTA events or any recommendations as of today. And the big use case here is, if you get lost or corrupted, you can restore your SSP to where it was. And the steps are fairly similar. We'll restore the SSP backup after we have onboarded NSX Manager. For upgrades, upload and upgrade SSP bundle to SSPI, backup SSPI, and upgrade SSPI. Pretty straightforward, upgrade bundle. And then after you do the SSPI upgrade, you will go through and you'll upload a SSP bundle to SSPI, backup SSP, and upgrade SSP, and you're done. And go through and check the diagnostic tools, make sure everything is healthy at the end, and we are done. Thank you very much for your time today.